Hi, everybody. All right, so I've been preparing the stuff for the flood, getting all the numbers down and doing all the accounting work. So I wasn't able to post yesterday, and not much has actually happened. We figured Hillary would win the DNC, so there was no point in really posting that. The U.S. military is actually getting gender-neutral vegan MREs, and it looks like this is an optional thing, but from what I know about my biology and chemistry, folks, there's actually a heightened reason for even women in combat areas to actually eat things built up for men's bodies so that they have the heightened senses and the aggression needed to take the field and to take the fort and to, become the ground taker rather than the person who gives up their arms and surrenders. And I just look at the whole gender neutral thing and I go, that's going to cause a whole lot of biological problems for people. Especially people who are out running 20, 30 miles and everything else. They're not going to have the stamina necessary to do it. And while I know that there's a lot of vegan plans, which are actually quite good for people who are, in active sporting events and probably good diets for military persons. And I'm certain, like all things, these are going to be options that they have, at certain times. But I just wanted to put this out there. Not to say that, they're going to say that everybody who doesn't eat these, are going to be this or that, or it's going to make you a homosexual, or, that basically we're going to all end up like France, putting our hands in the air because, everybody's going to be crying and being on their periods and things. But I have a couple of different family members in the military, and I'm certain we've all eaten an MRE at one point or another. Um, and I can't say it really made me feel any different or anything, but to say that you're going to give soldiers, especially those in or near combat zones, gender neutral food, the food is supposed to make you aggressively alert and kind of gives you that warrior spirit of drinking out of the cup from the skull of your enemy type thing. So you would expect a lot of pastas, a lot of various things rooted in um, the old warrior race type foods, along with things that would actually give you the ability to, run long distances, move over obstacles quickly, among many other things. And this is absolutely true, folks. This is actually coming from Popular Military, and I wanted to show you this because I just look at this and I go, okay, yes, I understand the reasoning for a vegan option, and quite honestly, I've almost already assumed that they had a vegan option for MRE menus. But this does come July 26th of 2016, so the story was yesterday, supposedly, by Popular Military, so this is absolutely true, folks. Service members may be getting different facial expressions next time they bust out a box of rations following U.S. military's transition to more environmental and health-oriented MREs, which is fine. I'm good with that, but the idea that they would be gender neutral and various other things kind of makes me wonder whether it's going to give them the fighting spirit to actually do everything, and I don't like that idea. I'm all for the BPA-free packaging and biodegradable. I'm totally for that. I'm totally for must not contain environmentally harmful or flameless, ration heaters, etc. I'm all for that. But I don't know, folks. Some of the ways, especially the way this is worded, seems to be quite bad. I agree with the idea it should be grown in the U.S. from organic sources and for certified fair trade. I'm not certain what fair trade is, but I do agree with grown in the U.S. from organic sources. It says here must have a shelf life of 3 years, roughly 7 years shorter than the previous rations. That's probably a bad thing. You can find Brigadier General A.J. Publick, Commander 501st Sustainment Brigade out of Fort Blanda, Texas. So it looks like they're going to have fewer calories, so making tape will be much less of an issue. Definitely no more spaghettis and meatball pasta, he said. He mentions hot dogs and tuna, which kind of is gross. And I agree that they should change up their meals every once in a while. But let's be honest, folks, if you're on an Arctic expedition and you need to keep, say, 4,000 calories every 5 to 10 hours that you're exposed to the environment, you need those 5 to 10,000 calories. I mean, that's just needed. And if you can't get it from the MREs and the food that they have is also, let's say, gender neutral or vegan or specifically more prone to have less calories and various things of that nature, then you're actually putting the lives of all those people at risk. But fortunately, and here's the good thing, folks, there are people who in the military are going to have sense that aren't going to allow, their people to use this if they feel that, after a week's worth, their hardcore special forces guys are all crying their goddamn eyes out, and doing all kinds of crazy shit for being, having lack of testosterone and lack of various, aggressive meals that would make them, better combat soldiers and stuff. And while I'm all for, like I said, the U.S. grown organic and various things of that nature, no BPA. BPA is horrible. I totally agree with that, but the idea that it's going to be specifically gender neutral and vegan, I understand the vegan. I think vegan's a good thing. Especially if you have a downtime, you want to have one or two. It's actually a good thing. There's a lot of good vegan meals out there, and I hope some of them do make it into the MREs. But I just really hope that, this doesn't ruin the forces that we already have. Because most of these guys need to be on, probably nearly 10,000 calorie diets a day, especially if they're out running, 3-5 miles a day and doing all the workouts and doing all the classwork and everything else, keeping up with what Russia's doing, what the Middle East is doing. They got to have that focus, and they get that from the food. And you can say what you want about them keeping it in the MREs, but you got to think, this food isn't just the MREs. This is going to be food they serve in the dining and the mess halls and the various other places of that sort. It's going to be the same, same manufacturers, same farms, etc. Eventually. So, your soldiers are there to fight and to win. They're not there to cry their eyes out and wonder, where the enemy is and whether or not they can sneak across enemy lines and, party with them and shit. You have a military to fight. You have a military to stand guard. Your food needs to represent that. I've known plenty of women who went in the military, ate the regular MREs, and I'll be honest, folks, when I saw them, they look sexy as hell. One was in the Navy, one was in the Marines, one was in the Air Force, and those women look good. So what they were doing there is fine. Whether or not they were coming back from war zones or other things, they still look good. So this idea that they're going to switch up to a gender neutral MRE style is bad, and a vegan MRE, well, I kind of get a vegan. It's okay for a little bit. But this is just really horrible. Thanks.